Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Today Show. I am your co-host Julia Ramaldi, and my super amazing guest today is Adele Purdom. She must be a superwoman because she is a very busy mom, a very busy writer, and a full-time advocate. Welcome, Adele. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me, Julia.
I first met Adele at the Canadian Down Syndrome Conference, where I was the presenter. Adele has also presented at the conference. Adele, I have so many questions for you, so let's get started with your first love, your family. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and your beautiful family.
Sure. Thank you, Julia. So currently, I'm a full-time student. I'm completing my master's in creative nonfiction writing. And I have 3 girls, and my middle daughter, Elise, has Down syndrome. And my 3 girls go to a French first language school.
Like I said, you must have superpowers. Adele, you're a very busy mom and writer. How has this pandemic affected your family life and your kids' education?
Oh, I think it's been so challenging for many families through the pandemic for a variety of reasons. For my family in particular, it's been virtual learning. That was our biggest challenge, especially in the beginning. Um, Elise thought it was really funny to, maybe do a booty dance in front of the camera or anything to make her classmates laugh. So when she was actually able to go back to school, that made it a lot more manageable for our family with 3 kids. And, and one who's in kindergarten, and even older children need you too, right?
That's right. That is so funny that she does the dance.
Not if you're the teacher or the parent, but you're trying not to laugh, right?
Your kids are so lucky to have a teacher for a mom. I'm sure next year will be much easier. I hear you had a very exciting travel adventure with your family. We would love to hear some of the highlights of your 45-day around the world trip. It must have been so exciting. Can you tell us about it, Adele?
Yeah, it would be my pleasure. So I think sometimes there's this perception that if you have a child with a disability, that perhaps there's things that you can't do or that you shouldn't do, or that that word, I don't like to use it, but that you would be crazy to do something like this. Um, but we decided that we wanted to be a family that traveled together, spent time together. Haha, little did we know the pandemic was coming and we'd be spending a lot of time together. But we were very fortunate to be able to travel literally around the world. And, we went swimming with sea turtles in Hawaii and surfing in Hawaii. And, we ate sushi in Japan and were able to visit with elephants on a nature reserve in Thailand and, walk among the giant sequoias in Muir Woods in California. And, oh, what else did we do? We went to Portugal to finish our trip to get back home. And yeah, it was just an incredible experience. And I think we all did things that we never imagined that we would do.
How wonderful. Are there any moments that stand out to you?
Oh, it has to be surfing in Hawaii because my youngest was 3 years old and Elise was 7. And all of us were a little bit, there was some trepidation, let's just say, about getting in the water in the first place, in the ocean. But we all did it. So that was a really incredible moment.
That is unbelievable. Breaking down barriers is so important. What an experience for your family. Now that you did all that traveling, I'm sure you have lots to write about. Adele, can you tell us what inspired you to become a writer?
Absolutely. So I think, if as many writers will tell you, I think there's something inside of us that sort of, you can't not write. But what really drew me to writing as more of a full-time career would be my experience of having Elise and wanting to find a way to express the love that I had for her inside of me, and writing became a way to advocate.
Wow, writing down how we feel is just an incredible feeling. Please tell us about some of the accomplishments as a writer and which of your writings are you most proud of?
I'm like, you know what? It's a huge feeling of accomplishment every time you finish a piece of writing. But I do, the joy is sort of in the process. But finishing my book, that was, having that first draft in my hands, that was a huge feeling of accomplishment. But then also just when my work does get out there, connecting with readers.
It must have been so exciting to have your writings in magazines and newspapers. Adele, was there any article that was most difficult for you to write about?
Yeah, great question. Just recently, at the beginning of the pandemic, when there was so much uncertainty for everyone, um, I wrote a piece about my fears of people with disabilities sort of being left behind, and or not viewed as a priority by our society. And that one brought up a lot of feelings for me. But I think anytime I write about something that really impacts me to my core, it can be difficult to write about. It can bring up a lot of emotions.
Hopefully, we can put this pandemic behind us, Adele. Can you tell us about your book that is going to be published?
Absolutely. So I my memoir that I wrote is called Here We Are Happy, and it's a completed manuscript. So I'm seeking out a publisher for that book. Um, and yeah, that's my story of receiving a prenatal diagnosis of Down syndrome with my daughter Elise. Did you want me to mention the other book? There's I'll just jump right in and mention. I know we talked about this before, Julia. There's an essay that I wrote called The Giving Tree, and it's about my relationship with my daughter Elise, and that is actually going to be published in an anthology called Good Mama on Paper, and it's coming out on Mother's Day next year.
I just love the title, The Giving Tree. Adele, what are you working on right now?
So, as part of my master's program, your thesis is to write a book. So, I am currently writing my next book it's a collection of essays through memoir called I Don't Do Disability and Other Lies I've Told Myself.
Wow. Would you like to tell us your latest exciting opportunity with the Ontario Arts Council and the Writers Union?
Absolutely. So I've been so privileged to be able to give talks in schools before with one of my good friends, Special Olympian Emily Boycott. Um, she is a rhythmic gymnast. Now she coaches mainly, though, when it's not the pandemic. And basically, we're going to be offering workshops to teachers and classrooms and schools, just talking about the power of our stories. And it's sort of a joint workshop from the two of us. And there's some funding available through the Writers Union.
That is so incredible. Adele, you are an amazing, and I can't wait to read your books.
Thank
Adele,
you.
Adele, we have to take a commercial break right now. We'll be back in a moment.